Good evening. Hope you're having a wonderful afternoon. I hope you were able to join us this morning, or if you're not in person with us, maybe you caught us on Facebook Live. And if not, as always, you can go back and watch those sermons again and share them with your friends and family. And we would continue to encourage you to do just that. Make the most of this opportunity that we have to reach out to as many different people as possible. Continue to encourage you to come also on Wednesday nights, or to at least join us online. Louis is teaching that great class on the questions that were posed to Jesus in the auditorium. And of course, we've got classes for all ages of the kids, from the smallest all the way up to the biggest. And it will not be long. Richie Anderson will be getting started up with our youth group. And we're looking forward to and hoping for things to go smoothly this year in terms of being able to do some events and things like that. We're already looking forward to CYC and some things like that. So certainly looking forward to the upcoming year, and we're going to make the most out of what we've been blessed with. Now, as for the devotional for today, I was doing some reading over this past week and going into the weekend, and I was looking at some events of history, as you know that I do a lot. And one of the ones that was really shocking to me was one that I found that happened on this day, January the 17th of 1997. It was the first time that a legal divorce had been granted in the country of Ireland. Now, that's somewhat amazing, I guess, but it's an overwhelmingly Catholic country, and many of the points of their doctrine was implemented into the Constitution that was written there around 1937. So for many years, divorce had been illegal in that country, and it could not be granted. Now, I do know that it's true that in Matthew 19:9 that Jesus said that on the case of sexual immorality, that a person could, they could divorce for that reason. Also, though, within that very same context, Jesus tells us that God did not intend it to be that way. He intended it for it to be one man and one woman for life. A man, shall leave his father and mother. He goes all the way back and pulls in that context from Genesis to tell us about how God had intended things to be from the beginning. So he does grant there in Matthew 19:9 that that reason of sexual immorality. However, we also know that in the book of Malachi, we read that God hates divorce. Malachi chapter 2 and verse 16. So even though Jesus gave there was a reason that it could happen, a sin had to be committed in order for that to be justified, and it's no wonder that it would be something that God would hate. So that's a very interesting thing. I was just doing a little research when I saw this, and I saw that the first recorded legal divorce in the United States took place on January the 5th, all the way back in 1643, when Anne Clark of the Massachusetts Bay Colony was granted a divorce from her absent and adulterous husband, Dennis Clark, by the Quarter Court of Boston, Massachusetts. Now, so we start to think about some of these other things, and I got my wheels turning. I was thinking, abortion. Well, that's somewhat easier because we know that abortion was already legal in several states in the United States before Roe versus Wade, but that 1973 case was really the thing that kind of started to turn things around. And then I was noticing there was some things even to do with prohibition that had popped up yesterday and today. And you think about that, what was going on? Well, the U.S. had cut out the production, importation, transportation, and sale of all alcoholic beverages. And this ran from around 1920 or so until 1923. The 18th Amendment was proposed on December the 18th of 1917, and then approved on January the 16th of 1919, and then went into effect on January the 17th of 1920. Then we come around December the 5th, 1933, we've got the ratification of the 21st Amendment that brought prohibition to an official end. Prohibition never brought an end to alcoholic beverages in this country. Even though there was a law that said you couldn't do all those things, it just made the corruption around it run more rampant. Brought about the rise of the mafia, the mob, especially in the Chicago area and other places like that. The infamous Al Capone. A lot of those gangsters were making money by continuing to produce and import and have a hand in liquor sales and even selling it in their establishment, paying off police officers and different things like that to continue to keep those things going. So it was a whole ring of corruption that was going on there. Now, if we just took our Bibles out and we started looking through the Bible, we would find that there are a lot of laws that we have, that a lot of things are legal in our country. They're not legal according to God's laws. One of the examples that comes to mind to me is that prostitution is legal in Nevada. Does that mean that a person should take part in that? Well, I do not believe it does, because that kind of thing is a violation, puts us in violation of God's laws. So the point that I'm wanting to make, and what I want you to think about, is the fact that a thing is legal in our country, that does not make it legal with God. A thing being legal does not make it the best thing to do in the sight of God. Consider our example of divorce. Even though Jesus gave sexual immorality as a reason that a person could, it does not make it the best thing. The best thing is going all the way back to the beginning, one man, one woman, and let no man separate. And that's the way that God intended it. So that's the best thing in God's eyes. So the fact that everyone's doing something, that doesn't make it the best thing to do. A multitude is likely to be on the wrong side in this life, and especially in spiritual matters. Matthew 7:13-14, Jesus tells us that it's a difficult path and it's a narrow gate that's going to lead to salvation, and that there are going to be few that find it. And that means that the multitude is going to be on the wrong side of things in this life, and especially in dealing with spiritual matters. So what about me and you as Christians? Well, me and you as Christians, this is what we need to do. We need to focus on what the Bible has to say, and we need to make sure that we are living by that. According to Matthew chapter 5 and verse 16, we're supposed to be a light of the world, that when people see our good works, they glorify our Father in heaven. So that's what we should be living by. We should not be, I'm not condoning things being legal that shouldn't be, but I'm just saying it's a fact that there's going to be things that are legal, that does not make them right with God. And as a Christian, our things that are legal should be based on what God has said, and we should be letting people see that in our actions. Let us study our Bibles, look deep into God's Word, and make sure that we're being that city that's set on a hill, being an example to others. And hopefully over time, as we continue to be as an example, then we can help others to change. They want to be a part of what we're a part of when they see that we're something different. I pray that you'll take this with you. Don't get caught up so much in what is and what is not legal, what you can and cannot do in this country, but be caught up in what God would have you to do and what's the best thing that you could be doing with your time. I want to thank you once again, and I pray that you'll have a blessed week.